You're listening to the Platte River Bard.
Hello, and welcome to the Platte River Bard. This is Chris Berger.
And I'm Sherry Berger.
And we are here today at the Benson Theatre talking to them about their newest play, American Son. That is written by Christopher Demos Brown and is currently being directed by Kathy Tyree. And right now, we are here talking with Moira Mangiameli. Did I get that right?
That is.
Thank you very much. She's the executive assistant here at Benson Theatre and the person who does everything that no one else knows what to do about, which is probably the most valuable person in the entire theater. Thank you very much, Moira, for talking with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yes.
It's great to see you guys here.
It's nice to meet you. And this is just such a beautiful theater.
Yes, this is our first time here. So
I mean, the
what a
presentation
great-
is
yes.
just pretty amazing.
Yes, we are actually right in the middle of the theater right now. Yes.
Yeah, it's such a great place to come to work to every day. I have to tell you, it's beautiful, and I think it has a great blend of new, but also really it still looks sort of nostalgic.
It does.
Yes.
Kind of a little bit of an art deco, but not real, but kind of.
Right,
Yeah. I love it. It's really beautiful.
Yes, it still has that new theater smell.
It does.
Yeah.
We don't get to do that very much. So you are an executive assistant here at the theater.
Yep.
So you've seen a few shows, just a few shows so far since it reopened.
Right. The theater opened, sort of unofficially opened last fall, and they did 20th Century Blues, and I acted in that.
Oh.
And then in last spring they did Choir Boys. So this is the third, American Son will be the third in-house production that we've done.
The season that Benson is going to have is always going to consist of a little bit of everything, a little bit of theater and a little bit of music.
Yes, we do, and film,
And okay.
dance, and comedy,
okay.
and spoken word, and magic, and a little bit of everything.
That's
I think
great.
the easiest way to think about it is that Benson Theatre is all about community. And so we have our ear to the ground in terms of what does this community want, and we are very committed to working with populations who are underserved, and so I think if we're getting the feel that people want more comedy, then we're going to put more comedy in there. But it also is really open for rental. We have over 100 community partners, so we hope that our community partners will come and present something here. So
wow.
it's sort of really that's the best thing. It's for the community. It's your theater.
Yeah. Well, and right in the heart of Benson.
For sure.
Yeah. So what's been your biggest challenge so far?
I think getting people to know about us, really.
Yeah.
That really is.
Yeah.
I think whenever anybody, it's Benson, so there are people walking by constantly, all the time.
Yeah.
And people are always stopping and looking in, and if we're out there, we say, come on in, take a look.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, wow, it's so beautiful. But
It is.
the general public doesn't necessarily know, first of all, that we're even here, and if we
Yeah.
are here, what we do. So but we've also really only been officially open since February, so that's a pretty common problem for a new business.
Fair enough.
Any new business. But
Right.
that's what we're hoping to let people know, that we're here and what we do.
That's great. And you've got drinks and food and all of that as well. And a space that you can really set up differently depending
Yes.
on what you're doing, which is really nice to have.
We do. It's convertible. So right now it's set up sort of as a theater, but it can also be tables and chairs. It can be a cabaret setting. It can be completely open. So we could do workshops in here and classes. And
For sure.
So, yeah.
So whose dream was this? How did this all come about that it got renovated and all of that? Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So Benson Theatre is absolutely the dream child of Amy Ryan.
Okay.
And Amy used to have the pizza shop next door when it was the
okay.
pizza shop. And then she bought the house, the place next to that, and had the B side, which did some cabaret stuff, and some comedy and some little things like
Okay.
that. But she just had this dream that she wanted to have a big, beautiful space that people could come and take classes, and we could do shows, and they could have concerts, and she made it happen. She went out and raised a whole bunch of money with a whole bunch of really amazing people that helped, like Jim Mammel and Chip Davis, and a lot of amazing investors that also saw that dream and thought they wanted to be a part of it. So and it was about 10, 12 years in the making.
Wow.
Very nice.
Well, and it makes sense in this part of town. This really is kind of an artsy area.
Right.
So it makes sense for a space like this to be here.
Fair enough. Fits right in. Absolutely.
And it used to be a vaudeville theater?
It did. That's how it
Before
started. In next year, in 2023, it'll be 100 years old. It'll be a century. So
No kidding.
it in 1923 is when it opened, and as a vaudeville theater, and it was that for a little while, and then it was kind of closed for a while, and then it opened again as a cinema. So they had movies here until sometime in the 50s, and then since then it was many different retail outlets, and then it was finally abandoned and just a mess, and so it was gutted, and this is what it turned into.
Yeah, I saw a lot of pictures online. It looked like it was just a huge transformation.
Yeah. Oh, it was.
Well, and you guys made it through the pandemic. We're not quite out of it, but we're hopefully coming out of it. So how did that go with all of this construction happening at the same time and trying to fundraise and
Right. Well, one thing is that the theater wasn't technically open. It opened in 21, but there was a staff. And again, Amy was really committed to making sure that nobody was let go, even though it was a pandemic and it was hard. So she worked at getting a lot of government grants, a lot of that kind of stuff, and everybody stayed employed throughout
Very nice.
it. So
Very nice.
That's great. Well, she's somebody to know if she can get grants like this. That's amazing. She could teach us all a few things.
she could.
That's the thing to do.
She's kind of a genius at the whole grant game for sure. And Jason Levering, who is also works here, and Jason is he helps a lot with grant writing and everything.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. Yes, he's got a play he's writing right now that he's showing off at Fringe, and then we're all reading it, and I got to be a part of that. He's a super nice guy.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to meet you. And I know you've been doing theater for quite a while.
Yes.
I have.
So,
yes,
and you've
very
done some
long time.
things at the Playhouse, I think, right?
Was it? Yeah, everywhere.
Oh,
Playhouse,
okay.
and Nebraska Shakespeare and the Rose, and I've been acting and directing for a really long time.
really?
Ah, yes.
Oh,
So,
that's
yeah,
great.
there's not many places that I haven't done something. That happens when you get to be 60.
That's okay.
Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for taking the time and
to
telling
meet
us
you.
about this. And best of luck in this new beautiful endeavor.
Yes,
Thank
break
you.
all the
Thank
legs
you
here,
very
please.
much. And welcome to Benson Theatre.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and now we are being visited by Kerri Forrester, who is one of the actors in the play. She and also Jared Cernousek, another one of the actors in the play. And the name of the play, of course, is American Son by Christopher Demos Brown, directed by Kathy Tyree. Thank you both
Yes.
for talking with us today.
Yes, thank you for
very much.
having us. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet you. This is a really interesting show. I think this
Yes.
is probably, and it was just written just a few years ago too, so it's still really
Newer play.
fresh and into our era. What is some of the main things that you had to grapple with during this production?
Yeah, tell us about the play for those who may not know American Son, since it's new.
I believe that American Son is truly a show that is a public conversation that usually happens privately amongst different cultures. Really, it is a show where you can sit with many different people from many different backgrounds, and they can relate to each and every single character. But then when someone else speaks that maybe has a different perspective, you really go, oh, okay, I get it now, or I can see that point.
Yeah.
So again, it's really having an important conversation in your face, just kind of from all different types of views.
Yeah. So you guys play a couple together, right?
Actually, we do not play
Oh.
the couple.
Yeah, so I play Officer Paul Larkin. And
Okay.
So I
Okay.
am kind of the liaison and the mediator, or lack thereof.
Oh, okay. All right.
At the local police station that Kendra runs into during this chaotic night.
Yes.
Okay.
And his character and my character really find ourselves clashing. There's a lot that happens where people have certain stereotypes that are just kind of ingrained in our heads, just with how we grew up or what we learned or the experiences that we've had. And so a lot of that really kind of shows in our dialogue and conflict.
Okay.
Wow. And does that get resolved? Do you have your moment?
Well, you'll have to come and see.
You gotta come see.
Right,
But
right.
spoiler alert, I don't think so. I don't think so. But yeah, you'll see big moments from us.
Absolutely.
That
So
sounds
now, the sort of the basic story of the play is just basically, and not giving anything away. The sort of the setup would be what?
Yeah, so it's kind of a couple hours early morning. In this Florida police station. Kendra, is looking for her son.
Okay.
He's not answering his phone. She hasn't seen him, wants to know where he is, right? So naturally, like any extremely worried mother would, she
Right.
goes to the police. But because of her being a black woman and having this very tall, black son, kind of the gauntlet that she's put through may not be the same that everybody else would be put through. And so that's kind of explored. And then, her estranged husband, who's an FBI agent and also white, shows up. And there's
Okay.
an entirely different gauntlet and relationship that he's put through with this white police officer whom I play. And all in this quest of just caring for their son, wanting to know where is he.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that is the setup. That's a hell of a setup.
Yeah,
And then
wonderfully put.
the play happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. American Son, I'm assuming referring to your son in
My
the play.
son.
Okay. Who something has happened and we don't know.
We don't
But
know.
you are looking for him.
Where is he?
Excellent. Okay, so what did you think? Because it is a newer play, and there's a lot of newer material coming out addressing these kind of topics, sort of as never before. What did you think about this particular? How do you think it addresses these certain topics? Were you pretty happy with the sort of the conversations that come up in the play? Did some of it make sense? Did some of it not make sense?
Well, being from the community of people of color,
Yes.
I completely understand. There are a lot of racial tensions and, of course, tensions between the African American community and the police,
For sure.
So, with that being said, I think that especially this play was written in about 2016, before a lot of things happened, like the Black Lives Matter movement, and before we lost
right
a
before.
lot of people.
Yeah.
I think that he did a great job in really being able to hit the nail on the head when it comes to some of these conversation topics that we saw kind of unfolding in the media before our eyes. So
Yes.
he's right on point, and it's scary, crazy, and just kind of lets you know how long this has been happening and that it has continued enough for those conversation topics to be extremely relevant. Yeah.
Sure. So it does the very much the topics and the stuff coming up. It does ring true to you. It doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does ring true. That's nice to hear.
I love to see theater that makes people think like that, and and even just the origins of theater. It's always been somehow political or cultural. It's always been that. It's
Makes
always
you
been
think.
teaching that lesson.
Makes you think,
And-
makes you feel.
And even gender is so hard. And we're going to be girls for a second.
Go for it.
Please.
Because there are times that I just tell him, you have to do this. Because if
Yeah.
I do it, they're not.
Yep.
We're not going to get the response that we
Yeah.
need because
Yep.
they don't want
Yeah.
to hear it.
We
coming
Yep.
deal with
from
that. We
a
deal with that
girl.
all the time.
So I can only imagine, how it is for BIPOC people,
Yeah.
as well, or even LGBTQ,
Yeah.
or talking about to have that on
Completely.
top of it is I don't understand why our society is where it is today. So. I appreciate theater that's addressing some of these issues.
Yes. Well, and as you said, and you guys were saying, there's the different viewpoints. There's all kinds of different viewpoints and thoughts that come up in the course of this play, which is always so valuable.
Absolutely.
Because then that makes you think about something different. Because then you hear this one, then you hear this one. Oh, what about this one?
Right, right. And that was one of the things that stuck out to me originally. You know, like as an actor, this is exactly the kind of theater I want to be doing.
Yeah.
As a, a straight white male, right? Like it's a very different relationship with the text. And I really can't think of anybody who wouldn't, leave this show with something to talk about. It asks questions and then asks you to answer.
That's
and
cool.
then 10 minutes later, after you think you've found your answer, a new character presents a different viewpoint and in a different stance.
It gives you something new to think about.
Yeah, so it's really one of those shows where I'm consciously inviting certain people who may benefit from this dialogue in these relationships.
That's huge. We have such an amazing director who, for every show, if she can, makes sure that she talks to the writer. And she sat down and let us know that she had spoken with him. And she said, what do you want people to take away from this show? How do you want them to perceive the characters? And from what the answer from the writer is that I don't want anybody to leave that theater hating anyone.
Yeah.
I don't want any of these characters to be misunderstood or for them to leave a bad taste in anyone's mouth, no matter what. But it's just like, as Jared was speaking earlier, there are certain ways that different people have different relationships. And so I just would love it. Of course, I would love to be able to be perfect all the time as an actress, and I know that might not happen. However, what I would really love to be able to do is execute my character in such a way where people truly understand. Are people going to get that Kendra is being discarded while her husband is being tended to, even with through the anger.
Right.
There's Kendra is described by the officer as ghetto, and she's well spoken. She has a PhD in psychology. There are nuances that I really believe as actors, as a cast, we've all have a passion to be able to tell this story in the right way, so even certain nuances are understood.
Yeah.
So that's the task for us. That's the challenge.
Wow.
Well, and that is an excellent, and especially with conversations like the ones that are that you guys are having in this play, and the issues that you're dealing with. Really, the more you get to it, it is all about the nuance. It isn't just this happened, so then that's bad or that's good. Well, no. Look at the new, not always, and I think that maybe has become a problem for a lot of us, and I don't know why, but less and less people seem to get nuance anymore, and I don't know why that has stopped. I don't understand, but it's nice to see that younger folks are still getting it. Because I did when I was young, and then I'm like, okay, what happened to the death of nuance? What does nobody understand this anymore?
Right.
And it's nice to hear and see that kind of thing happening, especially about all of these topics that are literally in our face right now, every day, and we're grappling with them as a society as we speak. For good or bad, it's going to happen. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. So come to the show. You might have to come a couple of times to really, when you
Absorb
watch
it.
something and then you watch it again and you're catching things that you missed because maybe you were thinking about something else. And so this is a show that I would invite people to come see maybe a couple of times to really get it.
For sure.
Well, let's talk about you guys for a second.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm
Jared.
going to assume that this is not your first show, Jared.
Yeah, so
You may have done a show before.
I have. My relationship with acting and theater, started with my family when I was 6 years old, and then I just graduated from UNO with my acting and directing degree. So
Excellent.
Now we're shopping for grad
Congratulations.
schools and kind of
Cool.
considering even furthering on that path here. But like I said, to have an opportunity like this and to be telling this kind of story, especially, it's beautiful. And also where I'm at in my own life as an artist and wanting to hear other sides and learning about, my race and other ethnicities and the relationship there. It's just beautiful. So I'm thrilled to be on stage and working with actors like Kerri and the whole team.
For sure. Is there a front runner for grad school right now?
I'm planning on attending the IRDAs this winter, and so basically just auditioning in a big cattle call manner.
Yeah.
You talk with them afterwards, right?
And see what happens.
We'll see who wants me.
Okay. Hey, cool.
Yeah.
That's actually a good way to do that. And it seems like I've been hearing theater stuff like that a lot, where everybody comes together in one place, and you have people from all
Knock
across
them
the country, and the actors can just go there and audition for hundreds of places.
Right. And I know it's been virtual, and so hopefully now I'm thinking it'll be in person.
We'll start to do the
getting
in-person.
back to the normal.
It always works out a little better.
So, and I'm going to ask a noob question because that's what
Ask
we
a
do.
noob
that's
question.
What makes us good because I have noob questions. So he's a theater person. So is that for acting or is that for directing or both?
Yeah, so I started as an actor, and I've always been an actor, and then I learned, gosh, you can tell beautiful stories, and directing is so cool.
Yes.
And actually, during this rehearsal process, me and my best friend were directing a show for the Omaha Fringe Festival. And so I'd
Fringe
leave this rehearsal and go to that one, and
Cool.
right after tonight, that's what I'll be doing.
That's great.
But my plan for grad school would be focused more on that acting.
Yeah.
On the acting?
Being on the stage, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
What's the thing you're directing for Fringe?
It's called One-Sided.
One-sided. Okay.
Which is totally different than this
Completely
type of show,
different than
right?
this.
Yeah. We talked to them a couple weeks ago.
Yes,
Oh,
indeed.
awesome.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm doing Jason Leverine's doing his script that
Yeah.
he's writing, and I'm one of the readers for
That's
that.
awesome.
So,
That's awesome.
It's been fun. We'll do that this weekend.
And what about you, Kerri?
Yes,
Yeah.
this isn't your first rodeo, I'm assuming.
I am a music girl myself.
Okay.
Jared, let me just go ahead and just speak to Jared really quick. He is amazing. In the
That's awesome.
audition process, he was able to audition for a couple of characters, and we auditioned as husband and wife, and of course, him as Paul Larkin, the role he's currently in.
Mm-hmm.
But man, this man could even play Kendra. I mean, and be believable. He is incredible. I respect him so much in his
Excellent.
craft and his process. And one day I'm going to be as great as he is. But I just know he's going to be somewhere. He's going to go places. So I'm honored to be with him in this
very
part of
sweet.
his journey. And I always say, don't forget me.
That's right.
I'll slip you your $20 after this. That was great.
I thought we agreed on 25, but that's okay.
That's right.
Me, myself, I started musically when I was about 3 years old, and then I began singing classically and competing as the first African American and youngest African American classical singer. I've been to about 30 some odd different countries. Mom was a DJ on the radio, and my father played gospel and classical piano. And so I grew up with a diverse musical background around me.
Wow.
So with that being said, of course, going into musical theater, coming from the opera world.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you were doing a lot of opera,
I was
yes.
doing a lot of operas as a kid. And then I said, man, oh man, this musical theater stuff looks awesome. And I jumped into that, and I've been blessed enough to be able to now segue into more plays, but never anything like this.
I'm gonna say,
So-
is this like a little bit of
is
a
a new
departure
one.
for you?
This is a whole new world for me. Now I'm blessed enough to be a part of like the Dinner Detective, where I go and it's a lot of improv and I'm silly and funny and crazy. But this is a whole new world. So I hope that I'm doing justice for this, but I know that this experience has completely opened a new door to theater for me. So I'm really excited to see where I will go in theater from
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. Well, and it's sometimes people who are more musical don't really like the acting piece. They like more of the musical piece, but you're liking both.
I'm loving both. Well, I think it's instant gratification when it comes to musicals and singing. If you're all right, people just love you. Oh my
Sure,
gosh, and I
sure.
could see you here, and why don't you go to Broadway? This is more demanding. This is more telling. This is more vulnerability. And, so Kendra especially has to, as my director would say, she's on a roller coaster. She's this way with one character, this way with another. She's up here, down here, and you don't want your audience to get bored sitting watching somebody scream the whole show. So you got to really be able
Right.
to give a lot of different
You got to hit a bunch
dynamics.
of levels, yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and I'm sure probably everybody in the play, given the nature of the play, everyone treats you different.
Oh yeah.
You get a different treatment for every single person that you encounter in this play. Yeah, which
Yeah.
is part of the point. Yeah,
Part of the point.
Yeah.
I love that where you can just point and go, "Did you see that?" Like from the observer.
Yeah.
From the observer,
And
because
how
we've had
neat.
those conversations
Yes,
even
we
just
do.
about us. You know, I'm like, "Did you see?"
And
how that
she tells me things like that I don't notice. And she's like, "Did you just see that?"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yes, I did. What did I see?"
Right.
And then she's like, "Da da da da," and I'm like, "Okay,
Right.
I get this now."
Right. Yeah.
I saw it, but I didn't see it.
Right.
Yeah. Very
And
interesting.
It's happened both ways.
Yeah, well, yes, because
It's happened both ways.
some weird things have happened, and I'm like, okay,
We're
this is
partners.
what just
Right.
happened.
Exactly. Did you see that? Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did you catch what he said? All right, this is what he really meant.
So wonderful. So you're from Omaha then?
Omaha, born
You
and
are?
raised.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
Definitely.
That's great. And Omaha and doing opera.
Omaha and doing opera. I went to school in Mississippi Valley State University. I did shows like American Idol and NBC's The Sing Off. And so I was offered a full ride scholarship to go to, thank you, to go to a HBCU. And it was such a life-altering experience coming from Omaha that, yes, is a melting pot. However, in my classical world, I was the only one.
I would say you were probably the only
Now,
one.
I'll be transparent enough to say when I was sitting the first day in our psychology class at this historically black college / university, our professor said, "When did you find out you were black?" And I said, "What? And when did you find out you were black?" And I said, "Today." Because in Omaha, it
Yeah.
never came up. I knew that I didn't have blue eyes. I knew that I didn't have blonde hair. So there was certain things, when looking for roles or, again, you get treated differently. But I just thought it was because of things that I didn't have, not who I was. And to be amongst people with all different kinds of experiences, you go, wow. But to be in a place in Mississippi where there are neighborhoods of thriving black people, but you can't think of that here. You can't tell me one area of a thriving black community the superintendent that we just got a few years ago, she's black, that's awesome. But there weren't black CEOs and black presidents of organizations. Our racism here is quiet. You just know your place, and that's what it is. And to be able to see that, where I was in Mississippi, and they literally hung a black boy from the tree outside of our dorm.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's right out in the open
It's
down
in
there.
your face.
Yeah.
I kind of prefer the in your face. I've had guns pointed in my face being in Mississippi. I've had different experiences where here, when I've needed help or even calling out to the police, and it's different. At least there, they told me who and what I was, and that's not going to happen.
Yes.
Rather than being here and kind of getting the runaround and the string along. Again, I think that this show has even brought up some things for me where it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Excellent. I tell you, we got to come see this one.
Yeah.
So, and we haven't been to Benson before, so it'd be a good excuse to come to the theater.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
For sure.
Well, and I think just telling all the stories are just so important. So when I lived in Tulsa, I went to OSU Tulsa Center, and it had Langston University, which is predominantly African American, but it was there, and they did all the business classes, and I was trying to finish up my business school, and then they had OSU and OU, who don't get along ever, right? But the crazy thing was they didn't tell us that the campus that we were on, where it was in Greenwood, and I didn't know the story. I didn't know any of the stories until we were watching, because I love Regina King. I love her.
Oh, Regina King. Oh, yeah.
Love her so much.
With the Watchmen show on HBO.
Watchmen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's
When they tied her. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And I was like, why didn't they tell me all this? Here I am going to school on this brand new beautiful campus, and I don't even know where I'm going.
Yep.
Yeah. She went to school there. And,
Tell the stories.
And there wasn't even like a plaque or nothing.
I literally, after the show, when it hit me, all I did was cry.
I had heard the term Black Wall Street, but I had not known what it was connected to. And then when they started to talk about it, I remember reading about that incident specifically because of the plane that flew through town and was dropping stuff on people. I think that's like the only instance of that like ever happening in United States history.
Can you imagine the thousands of stories
Oh
that
my
you will
God.
never hear?
Yeah, they're gone.
The thousands of plaques that will never be. Even here sitting in Benson, what could have been or what was or how things really came about, that we'll absolutely never know.
Yep. Just
That's
gone.
huge.
Now
Just
I'm just
gone.
going to be like a little.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm there with you. I get it. And that's the thing that people don't really realize about our culture is that everything is gone. There's a big difference when somebody can say, oh, I'm Irish, I'm Scottish, or I'm German, or if you call someone in Germany Irish, come on, baby, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But there are 55 countries in Africa that are the same way. We don't know where we came from.
No.
We don't have that privilege to be able to say, this is our culture, this is our history. Then we get here, and again, things are stripped away. Things are whitewashed or just untold or unspoken and not, so we are just a people that are literally trying to thrive and find ourselves and make our own culture, which then gets adopted, we'll say, by others, you know, and then like country music, rock and roll music, EDM, you know, a lot of things that will forever be forgotten of where it really originated and started.
Absolutely.
So hopefully conversations like this, shows like this, movies and whatnot, media will do their job in trying to recover some of that, because there's a lot I will never know.
Yeah,
Right.
there's a lot
Have
that's
to
been
tell those
lost, and it's
stories.
shocking.
So in doing this, did you find that your role was? Did you struggle at all with any of part of your role?
Because you kind of got to play. It sounds like you kind of got to play a jerk a little bit.
Yeah.
No, that's a great question.
And not everybody's comfortable with playing that kind of role. You know what I
right.
mean?
And I shouldn't say like, oh, it was so fun.
Well, no, but we
Best
know
role
what you
ever.
mean. As an actor, I can understand that because
Yeah.
I played a jerk before, and I found it very satisfying, but not because I was a jerk.
Of course.
Yeah.
I decided kind of pretty early on in kind of exploring the character. I said, I don't think he's a racist cop. I think he's a really good cop. I think he's really good at what he does, and in that is a part of a racist system.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now, what does that look like? You know, to be so committed to your job, and in that you're hurting people, and you're looking at others and scrutinizing others under a microscope. You know, and what does that say just about the system and the role is the career, right? And that's bigger than any one person.
Yes, and that's so topical because you say that, because that's really what our society is starting to look at now over the past few years. It's like, okay, maybe not single out all these people. Maybe we should look at the system as a whole.
What blueprint, are they given? And there's this there's a beautiful scene where there's kind of an interrogation process, and I'm just asking questions, and they're not the same questions he probably would be asking. And there's, of a white mother. And so it's been really fun for me to explore. And like I said, just reading the script, it challenged so many of my own preconceptions and things, and it's just a piece that
dissonance
it
kind of thing.
continues to just and I'm excited to invite my family from a small rural town to come see this show and engage,
See what they think,
in a
yeah.
dialogue. So to me, like, that's what theater is about, like, as you mentioned.
Right.
And so to be in a show that maybe it's not directly related to who I am when I'm walking down the street, but certainly carries over and
Yes.
certainly opens my perspective 100%.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Oh wow, that
For
sounds
sure.
like you guys are ready to go. Even like almost.
Well, you guys are opening on the 18th, so what?
You're
You
off
get
book officially
less than
today,
2
right?
weeks?
Off book today.
Today's your first day off book?
Yes,
All
but
right.
Wednesday is our preview, and Thursday it all begins. So
Yeah.
even if you anyone can come to the preview show. Just come, have a seat, look and listen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I would love that.
Yes.
That's my birthday. We should do it.
Oh, that's right. Wednesday is your birthday.
I'm old.
Hey, 19 is not up there.
That's right. See? That's what I
We
say.
got a lot of years
Gotta
to
keep,
go.
gotta
That's
keep
right.
that liquor away from me. Just a little while longer.
Well, Kerri and Jared, thank you guys
Yes,
so
thank you.
much for
Thank
talking with
you.
us today. It's really been nice to meet you and to talk with
Yes.
you. And it's really been great to be here at the Benson Theater, too.
Yeah,
Enjoy your
absolutely.
time here, for sure.
Thank you.
I'm a little jealous. This
Please
is a great
don't be.
place.
I'm sure you'll be here soon.
I would love to come here. Yes, indeed. What a wonderful place.
It is.
Have a great run. Break
Yeah.
all of
And
the
good
legs
luck
that you
with
can.
Appreciate it.
And what do you got coming up? What do you got coming up after this? Or do you?
More classical music?
Well,
More plays?
y'all know Dreamgirls is coming,
Oh,
as well as
that's-
Fences.
That's right. See?
So, I mean, we have a huge, especially the Omaha Community Playhouse
Yes.
has a incredible
That's
lineup.
right,
Little
they
Shop
do.
of Horrors.
I know.
I like to, sing Suddenly Seymour. But
Stephen was climbing the walls. He was telling us about Little Shop because isn't that one of the ones he
right, yeah, Little Shop.
he has a
He
tattoo?
has 2 tattoos.
yeah.
And one of them is a Little Shop.
Well, I think I don't know if he only
well,
has 2
yeah,
tattoos.
but the 2
I
he
didn't see
claimed.
any of them.
He claimed 2.
He claims 2.
Yeah.
And there are 2 shows in the season, Rent and Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes.
Yeah, and Dreamgirls
Yes.
and I mean the list goes
Yeah,
on and
OCP's
on, and
got a heck
that's
of a
just at
season.
one theater. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
an amazing lineup here at Benson, the Rose, Loft, Blue Barn.
Everybody's got a lot
I
of
mean,
stuff.
everybody's got a lot of stuff
You're
going
working.
on.
I know.
So
We're
just
back.
wish me luck in all
Yes.
the
Yes.
auditions,
Yes.
and that I just keep thriving.
Please.
like
yes,
I've
you will.
done for American
We will look
Son.
forward to seeing you somewhere else after
Yes.
Yeah.
Both
Is
of
that
you.
what happened?
Hopefully
Both of you.
Hollywood soon for
Yeah,
Jared and I, if he
Oh, there you
remembers.
go.
this. Actually, as an opera singer, what was one of your favorite songs to sing? Did you have a favorite?
Si mi chiamano Mimi. I just love anything that's huge and big where you can soar your high notes and whatnot
Okay.
and shake the walls with your voice. So again, that's another thing that's different. As an opera singer, I'm never used to hearing you need to project more. No, because your voice fills every type of hall and or outside. Here, speaking as Kendra, my director saying project more, and it's like, what? Now this is different.
This is
Okay.
new. Yeah.
All right, let me give it to you. But yeah, so I'm excited. We'll see what's coming.
Well, you sound kind of soft-spoken, but you can belt it.
Oh, I can belt it.
Apparently.
Yes, I
Apparently.
can belt that thing.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much.
Yes,
Thank
thank you.
you.
So nice to meet you.
Thanks. Pleasure.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. All right, and we are here still at the Benson Theater, and we are talking with the director herself, Kathy Tyree. She is directing the play American Son. Thank you for talking with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking the time. So you get to do stuff all over town,
I do.
and I'm trying to keep track of you.
Sometimes I'm trying to keep track of myself. It's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have.
Well, so you're going to do some things at Omaha Community Playhouse this year, and is that where you normally are, like your full-time day? Is that kind
Yeah,
of?
during the day, I'm on staff as
Okay.
the Director of Inclusion and Community Engagement.
Okay.
And then I'm also a singer, actor, director,
Yes.
and producer. I have Kathy Tyree Productions, and then I perform all over the city.
Yeah, they've called you the Omaha Queen of Soul.
Yes.
Well,
Well, maybe.
so yeah, I've done quite a bit of directing and
Cool.
directing at the Playhouse. So,
Oh, great.
and have another show coming up in January, Dreamgirls. So
Okay,
we,
You're directing Dreamgirls over there.
Yeah, I am.
Oh man, that's going to be a huge
Yeah.
audition.
Yes.
I've talked to so many people who are like, they're doing Dreamgirls in January. Oh,
We're
yes.
excited. We're
yes,
excited.
I think everyone is
Yeah.
for that one, for sure.
Yeah, and so now you're here in
And
Benson
so
doing
I'm
this.
blessed to be here in Benson. Yeah.
American Son, which is a
Yeah.
newer, not even 10 years old yet, so newer.
Yeah. Christopher wrote that in 2016.
Yes,
Yeah.
newer play, addressing a
A
lot of
biracial
subjects.
couple. Yeah.
A lot of subjects that are pretty much front and center right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the things that we talk about, well, we've had lots of discussions in the rehearsal because the script just lends to that. You just got to talk through some of this stuff because it's so heavy at times. But although it was written in 2016, it's still extremely relevant today. A lot of this play will hopefully have the audience thinking about perspective and perception and what makes us who we are and how that causes us to view others and how we engage each other as a society, as people, yeah.
So what has been the challenge for this for you? I mean, you've got all these different perspectives, and how do you mesh them? I know that the script is a script, but you've got so many other pieces of it to make it work.
Yeah. It hasn't, the script is really, really well written. Christopher did a beautiful job with this script. And these actors are so invested in telling this story and bringing these characters to life on stage. And so they really do their homework. They really ask meaningful questions and important questions. In rehearsals, they take direction really well. They're all like sponges. If I ask for something, then I see it. And it's like, oh, wow, you know. And so it has, working with these 4 actors and putting this show together with them, I wouldn't use the word challenge. Yeah, it's
Very
been
nice.
a gift. It's been a gift.
Very nice. And just 4 people in this play.
It's just 4 people.
Small play, small cast play. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the main characters we never see, and that's Jamal. That's the focus, the son.
The American son.
The American son.
And he is actually never seen in the play.
No, he's never seen.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we don't want spoilers.
I know.
But you know all about him. Well,
Yeah.
you know,
You learn all
many
about
many
him.
people know this show and know this play and
Yes.
the movie with Kerri Washington and
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. But still, there's a lot of people who haven't seen it, so I don't want to ruin anything
Right.
because they need
Right.
to come see
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Come see it and experience this.
Please.
And
You will be sad if you miss this.
Yes,
You really, really will.
and a lot of opportunity for good conversation in a absolutely beautiful theater. What a wonderful space you
It
guys
really
have
is.
here.
This space is so beautiful and it's full of kind energy and kind people.
Yes.
Which adds to the beauty of the theater. So
That's great.
yeah.
So did they come to you and say, we've got this play and it's dealing with issues that society is dealing with now? Would you direct it, or how did that all come about?
They just said, Kathy, will you direct this play?
You direct this?
It wasn't that. You did it so much more eloquently.
Well, it's an important play, and I
it's an
assume that they
important
know
play.
that.
And make sure
so
to give it
that's
to the right
why.
people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, give it to
Absolutely.
the right person.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How did you decide to get the directing bug? So you've got the performing bug and the theater bug.
Yeah.
How did you decide to do the directing?
I've been performing 40 plus years.
Yeah.
Yes, I started when I was 2.
Very good for you.
And in 2018, I went to a workshop at the Union for Contemporary Arts with Denise Chapman, and they had brought in director Carla Stilwell from Chicago.
Okay.
And so Denise is like, just come to the workshop. I had no intentions of becoming a director. And I went to the workshop. I participated in the whole 9 yards, and Carla pulled Denise to the side and said she has something. And Denise Chapman, being who she is, before I knew it, she had me directing a staged reading at the Union.
Oh.
And it was very successful, in large part because of the beautiful actors that were in it. And then Great Plains Theater Commons invited me, and then it just took off from there.
Wow. Well, and you've got so much to do already at the Playhouse too, but I bet it's just nice to be able to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. I'm a creative at my core.
For sure.
And like I tell people all the time, this is my ministry. This is how God uses me outside of the 4 walls of the church. And so I'm blessed. And I'm blessed to be able to wake up every day and do what I love.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't get that opportunity. And so I do not take it lightly, and I do not take it for granted.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you're able to work at all of these different theaters in Omaha, and I know you're making a huge impact at the Playhouse.
I hope so.
And who do you think needs to see this play?
I think everybody needs to see it, regardless of age, race, gender, class. Everyone needs to see it because it sparks conversations. And that is the way to change. That is the way to become more inclusive. And that is the way to create equity and understanding is conversations. It starts with conversations and asking those tough questions and being willing to not only ask the questions, not only give your side and your opinion, but be able to receive. You don't always agree by the time
that's
that it's
okay.
over, but that's
and
okay.
that's okay.
Yeah.
And the point is the conversation, not
And
an
you
argument.
have better understanding when the conversation is over.
Yeah, not an argument, not people yelling at each other.
Right.
But a conversation.
Yeah, and
which is
that's
what's
what
needed.
a piece like this, again, like I said, it's so beautifully written, but that's what a piece like this invokes in people. It's just conversation to say,
That's good.
why does that character feel that way? Why does that character respond that way?
Yeah.
Why in the world would they think that? Why would they do that?
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that they picked police officers for this particular play too, and it's like police officers make a quick judgment about the people that they see, and a lot of it's because they have to assess the situation, but they also have to assess what's the safety part of the situation. And I think people will do that in real life, but they don't realize we're all just people, you know, just trying to survive. And I think somewhere we lose the humanity
Right.
in that.
Very much so.
So I think it's really interesting that they choose those characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to see people as people and not as categories.
Right.
Yeah,
And
otherwise
that's
it
difficult
gets
to do.
dehumanized. Yeah.
That's difficult to do sometime based upon your experience, your life experience.
Yes.
You know, it is interesting that you have 3 police officers on this stage with this one civilian
And the one lady.
who is trained to understand minds, okay?
Yeah.
But because of each of their individual and unique life experiences, even amongst those 3 officers, they all engage differently.
Yes.
And they all execute differently. That exceeds beyond their training and who they are professionally,
Right.
but who they are as people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neat. Oh, what a powerful play.
Yes,
and
can't
what
wait
a
to see
great
this.
person to direct it.
Thank
Yes.
you.
I'm
Sounds like
excited
yes.
for you.
Thank you so much. I
For sure.
appreciate
Yes.
you both.
Much continued success with your rehearsals and the opening of the
Yes.
play.
Thank
Please
you.
break all of the legs for this.
Yeah, they'll have to come up with another name for you. You can be Omaha's Queen of Soul and Omaha's Queen of Directing at several theaters.
That'll work.
Omaha's queen of all over the place.
There you go. I think it's great.
Thank you.
So nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet
Very
you.
nice to
too.
meet you. And this is Kathy Tyree, and she is directing American Son at the Benson Theatre.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right.
American Son will be at the Benson Theatre from August 18th through the 21st and the 25th through the 27th. Tickets can be purchased online at bensontheatre.org. Thank you for listening and supporting the arts in the Platte River area and beyond. Please subscribe to our podcast so you are sure to catch all of our future episodes and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Music for this podcast was used with permission by Screaming Skull Productions. See you next time on the Platte River Bard.